What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to the Crypto Catch-Up. Of course, your number one place to catch up on crypto. Now, of course, today is Sunday, and what I want to do is go over what is happening in the market for you all today, because we actually just got a warning from Jpmorgan saying that they think the majority of the positive catalysts within the world of crypto have been priced in, and realistically, they don't think we're going much further than this. And so in today's video, I want to give my opinion on that, whether I agree or whether I disagree. But of course, before that, let's kind of just get a look at the market, get a feel for the market, of course, with the week about to start, get an idea of where things are standing. Now, realistically, the top 10 is actually holding up quite well. You know, the last 24 hours haven't been the best, haven't been the worst, rather neutral. Got Bitcoin currently still maintaining above 60 at 60.4, ETH maintaining 2,500, currently sitting at 2.6. We got BNB maintaining 500 at 521, Solana maintaining 150 at 151, and then of course XRP maintaining 55 at 57. So I mean, overall looking pretty dang good. Obviously, we've been higher, right? Solana's been up to the $200 level, Bitcoin's been up to 70K, Ethereum's been up to 3K, but at the end of the day, I mean, we're holding up quite well, especially all things considered. Now, one thing that you do have to understand, though, is that in moments like this, where there is a little bit more uncertainty and there's definitely a lot more fear, your smaller altcoins are definitely going to take much worse of a beating, right? And that's why you can see on the dailies, like now we're seeing TON, H&T, TIA, NOT, STRK. A lot of these ones down 4 to 5% in 24 hours, and especially on the week, still struggling a ton, right? JASMY, MKR, AXS, AVAX, Render, all these ones looking pretty ugly. Now, there are a couple outliers, right? And it is cool to see, right? We have a WIF doing decent. We have ZEC, H&T, and SUI, which is interesting, right? Like, not many of these have a lot of similarities. There is a lot of differences between WIF, TAO, and SUI. And so, you know, it is interesting to see that we're kind of just in a popcorn phase right now, where some of them are just doing well and some of them aren't doing well. But overall, we're definitely seeing the smaller altcoins still struggling the most. And realistically, that's no surprise. The closer we are to Bitcoin season, the better the top 5, top 7 are going to do in comparison to the rest. And so, considering we're this deep still in Bitcoin season, not really a shock that the majority of the market is still somewhat struggling, but definitely not doing terrible. Now, to get even closer of an idea of, knowing where the market is right now, trying to maybe get an idea of if this is a decent time to buy or not, I definitely do still think this is a decent time to buy. A few of my favorite indicators are still pointing that out. Now, my favorite indicator currently is the liquidation map, which just tells you where the majority of the liquidations in the market are. The higher the green line and the lower the red line means there's more liquidations if the price goes up. And of course, if the red line is higher, then that means that the more liquidations will happen as the price goes down. And I typically believe, and I've noticed, that the market typically will go in the direction of the most liquidations. And so because of that, it seems to me like we definitely could still see this market push to the upside. We just need to clear this little dead zone up until around 61.4K, and that's when the liquidations really start. So definitely seems to me like this could still be a good time to buy. Now, of course, looking at the crypto fear and greed index, we have dipped back into the world of fear, just quite bare. I mean, not even, only by 1 point, but 1 point is 1 point. And at the end of the day, we are still in a fearful zone. And so, yeah, I definitely think it's a decent time to buy. Again, not the best time, right? The best time was in extreme fear, but a decent time to buy for sure. Looking at the RSI heat map, what we can get an idea of is what the majority of cryptos are standing at, and the majority of cryptos are standing at a low neutral, so almost weak, but a low neutral, which generally means, of course, when you're in the neutral zone, it's a decent time to buy. When you're in the weak zone, it's a good time to buy. When you're oversold, it's a great time to buy. So we do have some cryptos sitting, ADA, DOT, Gala, Sand, Mana, some of these other ones sitting within this weak zone, which is a good time to buy. But our main ones, right, our Bitcoins, XRP, Souls, I mean, a lot of these are sitting in that neutral zone, so there's a decent time to buy if you do want to. So overall, a pretty normal market. Not a ton happening in terms of the top 5. Overall, the majority of our altcoins still down just a little bit, which does open up the door of opportunity for this to be a decent time to buy, but definitely not one as good as what we saw about a week ago. Okay, so that's kind of where we are in the market right now, and that is kind of the overall analysis that I like to do, which gives me a good visual representation of what's happening in the market currently and what general sense of direction I think this is going to go. I think that there's a decent chance we do see some general growth, making it a decent time to buy. Now, looking at the news for the day, let's get an idea of what we just heard. So, Jpmorgan remains cautious on Bitcoin as positive catalysts are mostly priced in. Now, I'm not going to read you this whole article. Feel free to go read through this if you'd like to, but what they say is that the Jpmorgan team noted that there are few catalysts that could keep institutional investors optimistic on Bitcoin in the crypto sector, including Morgan Stanley Wealth Advisors offering crypto to their clients, bankruptcy paybacks almost being over, and both political parties in the U.S. pointing towards favorable regulations. Now, this is the issue that I have, right? Because the vast majority of these catalysts in which they're talking about definitely have been priced in, right? I don't particularly think completely, because I don't think the market is pricing in Trump actually winning. If Trump wins, I think this market will react much more positively than it is right now. But obviously, there is no true way of like knowing who's going to win. So it's kind of hard to price in something that is not determined yet. That's one. The other catalysts in which they're talking about definitely have been priced in, and you can't really argue with that. It just does seem to be the case. But what I would go ahead and say is that a lot of these major institutions are kind of blatantly avoiding / ignoring / neglecting one key metric that should probably be the first metric that any of us speak about. And of course, that's interest rates. And it's kind of obvious. You know, a lot of people say, let me before I even get on my little tangent there, the reason why interest rates are so important is because interest rates are directly inversely correlated with liquidity. Now, liquidity, look, I actually pulled this up. You can actually go check this out. I'll leave the link to this down below. But what you can see here is that liquidity or liquid assets, just in general within the world of economics, can be referred to as the amount of people who have either liquid cash or assets that can be easily converted into cash, right? So people are a little bit more liquid, meaning they're moving money around a little bit more. Now, interest rates and liquidity are inversely proportional to each other. More money usually means lower interest rates, just like less money equals higher interest rates. So in instances in which, of course, you will see the interest rates start coming down, which they likely will be soon, sometime this year and maybe early next year, it's more likely that people in general will have more money. Now, the argument in the world right now is that, well, typically speaking, when interest rates immediately start getting cut, the markets actually crash as a result of it. And that is true, but it's typically more true with the stock market. The reason it's typically more true with the stock market is because interest rates are being cut for a reason, right? What you have to understand is that the reason why interest rates get cut is because something's happening in the economy that's really bad that people then have to need, like the Fed has to step in and start kind of balancing out that bad thing that's happening. So maybe earnings are really starting to crash. Maybe we're in some type of recession. People aren't spending as much money, something of that nature, which typically will cause, again, as I mentioned before, earnings to start to decrease. Overall performance by the general S&P 500 companies to start to decrease. They start doing worse. And so as a result of it, their numbers, their earnings, their overall, score, if you want to call it that, starts going down as a result of what's happening in the economy. Therefore, the market's crashing because the Fed is lowering interest rates to counter this bad stuff that's happening to these S&P 500 companies. Whereas in the world of crypto, realistically, Bitcoin is not as directly impacted by less spending or less earnings, right? The overall value of, the derived value of crypto is measured differently than what we see in the world of stocks. We don't have earnings on Bitcoin. We don't particularly have earnings on ETH or Solana. That's not really how we operate. And so the methods for investing are different, and the methods for investing in the stock market can cause it to crash at the time that interest rates start dropping to counter what made it crash. And so because of that, in my opinion, I don't think that we're going to see the crypto market crash as bad, or maybe even for as long in an extended period of time as we would see the stock market do so, quite simply because, again, the methods for investing are different. And people will start having more liquidity, which historically does mean risk-on assets do better. And so, in my overall opinion, considering the fact that interest rates are seemingly being prepared to be reduced, although there may be an initial pullback, an initial crash in crypto as just a result of the stock market starting to pull back, I don't think it would last as long, and it wouldn't shock me if we really start to see the crypto market outperform the stock market as a result of something like that. And that's definitely not priced in. And so when I see warnings like this, it's kind of shocking to me that these are the people who are really some of the biggest people in the world, some of the smartest people in the world, who aren't considering things, or quite simply purposefully neglecting them to fill the narrative in which they're trying to push. And so because of that, I just wanted to come on here and just share you my opinion and why I think they're wrong. I don't think they're factoring in one of the most important things that they should be factoring in that definitely could have a major impact on most people's thesis of whether they do or don't invest right now. So overall, I wanted to share that with you today, and I want you to leave your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think is going to happen? What are some catalysts that I'm not thinking about? What are some things that I keep forgetting? Let me know down in the comments below. And again, what are you doing currently? Are you investing? Are you holding? Are you selling? Are you freaking leverage longing? Are you leverage shorting? What's the game plan for you? I'd love to hear it down below. And guys, don't forget, this is a brand new channel. My goal is 1,000 subscribers by October. The channel is currently 9 days old. We're over 500 subscribers right now. So thank you for everyone who has joined in the journey. And if you are new here, if you could like this video so more people can see it, and subscribe to the channel if you do want to show some support, that would be absolutely amazing. And I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.